It is October 14th, 2018, and I've been asked by a number of the monks to tell a little bit more about my story. So this is part 2 in a mini-series. People have asked me, how did you get into PMO recovery? And the way I got into it was, I was a member of Alcoholics Anonymous, and I hadn't had a drink for 6 years, and that was really working for me. I drank a lot when I was a kid. As we say in the South, I was bad to drink, and I stopped, and that worked out really good. But part of the program of Alcoholics Anonymous is to make amends to the people you've harmed. So I went back. I was 35 at the time. I went back to someone who I had known when I was 15. The first woman, or she was a girl, that I ever made love with. We were both 15. And I had not treated her as well as I had wished I had. I felt guilt and some shame about it. So I went back to her and said, can I talk to you? I got my wife's permission, and I said, I mistreated you. I did not treat you as well as you should have been treated. And it worked out that way. But what happened is that we kind of got obsessively involved romantically, not sexually, for about 4 months. And I was getting crazier and crazier because I didn't know about love addiction or relationship addiction or romance addiction. I didn't know anything about those 3 things. And I was involved in all 3 of them. And after about 4 months of just craziness, calling each other all the time and stuff like that behind our spouses' back, she just had enough of me. She said, I don't love you, I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to see you again. And so I went out and drank alcohol after 6 years of not drinking. Now in AA, that's a big no-no. You're not supposed to drink alcohol in AA. So I came back chastened the next day. And what it says in our literature in AA is that if you drink again, you need to go back and go back inside and make right what's wrong. And one of the things you need to look at 3 things. 1, do you have resentments? 2, what are your fears? And 3, what is your sexual behavior? Is it selfish or dishonest? So, because I really didn't want to drink again, what I did was I looked at my sexual behavior after I'd done my resentments and fears, and I found that I was cheating on my wife. I had a girlfriend for 3 years while I was married, and that was dishonest and selfish. So what AA said is, if you're going to stop drinking, you got to stop being selfish and dishonest. And that was clearly in that category. The other thing that I inventoried was I found that I was masturbating every day. Now this is real touchy, but not so much for the PMO guys. But for me, masturbation was never a selfless activity, something I did for God and my country and family. It was always something I did for myself to make myself feel better because I was feeling anxious because I was running my life wrong. And so it was selfish and it was dishonest. I would never tell anybody about it. So what I was taught in AA is you have to let go of selfish and dishonest sexual behavior. And I was cheating on my first wife and I was masturbating, and both of those had to go. And so I started going to AA, and they have an expression in AA, say, get honest. So I started going to AA meetings and said, well, I got this girlfriend. I said, you got to quit doing that. You can't have adultery. And so everybody was real clear about that. But then when I got to the masturbation, I said, I can't stop masturbating. I said, we wish you'd shut up. And I'm thinking, hold on, guys. You told me to be honest, and now you're telling me to shut up. And I felt kind of shamed and controlled and unsafe. But then a power greater than myself kind of reached down into my life and put a man in my life in the AA meeting. And what I did was I went to 7 men that I knew, the strongest, most powerful men, and said, what do you do about masturbation? What do you do about sex? And I said, well, I make love to my wife, and I masturbate. And 6 of them said that. But then God put this man in my life and said, Steve, I've got a meeting for you. And he took me to my first 12-step meeting for sex addiction called SLAA, Sex and Love Addicts Anonymous. And in that particular meeting, and it's the only meeting in the entire world that has this, you can't talk, you can't lead a meeting, you can't read the literature, you can't sponsor, you can't write literature, you can't be the treasurer, you can't be the secretary, you can't share, you can't do anything except sit there and shut up, unless you do 60 days of no masturbation and no sex with anybody, including your legal partner. And that was very tough for me. It took me 22 months to be successful at that. And that's how I got involved with the PMO, because what I found out was stopping masturbating was a lot harder than I thought. I could only go 6 days when I tried really, really, really hard. And then I'd fail. And then I'd try really, really hard, and I would fail after 6 days. And it finally dawned on me, Steve, you can't stop doing this. You are truly powerless. And the moment I realized I was powerless, that honesty, which led to humility, because the honesty was I can't stop, but the humility was this: will you help me? Is there somebody here who knows how to do this who will help me? Let me sit at your feet and teach me everything you know, as quickly, as gently, or as roughly, or however you need to do it, so that I don't masturbate, because I can't stop. And if I can't stop drinking, that selfish, dishonest behavior will lead me back to drinking. And that's how I got to PMO. We'll talk more about it in the third video.